Hi, this is Dylan with King Oaks Garage Door Service. Today we're going to be talking about garage door panel construction. So if you're thinking about a new garage door for your home, stay tuned to find out which type of garage door is going to suit you best. Okay, so we're going to start off by addressing the fact that there are 4 levels of garage doors. You have 2 types of single-sided steel and you have 2 types of double-sided steel. We're going to begin at level 1. So remember, this is a raised panel style. You can get this same level of door in almost every single style and many color options. Not all color options come with this, come in this level of door, but you can get pretty much any style in this level of door. So we're going to start off by talking about the strength of this panel, which is the biggest downside that most people are unaware of. If I just flex this very short, small piece of panel, you can see how much it moves around. If I put it on the table here and I push in, you can see it flexes quite a bit. This is the entry level door. It doesn't come with any type of insulation value. So we live in Florida. It's very hot here. This thing is gonna radiate heat into your garage. If you go through a brand new neighborhood that has these doors in the neighborhood, you'll see a lot of homeowners with the door kind of cracked open to try to vent that heat out of their garage. That's what they're fighting, is the fact that this is actually absorbing heat and then radiating it into the garage. So the next thing to talk about on this is sound. This is almost like a drum. You know, if I tap on this, just like a child's toy, this thing rattles and makes way too much sound. Any type of lack of maintenance that's going to cause sound is going to be amplified by this. So the overall experience with this door, it's going to be hot, it's going to be loud. It's also not very secure. This can be broken into pretty easily. You see all these things on the news about people breaking into garage doors. 9 times out of 10, it was one of these. The other thing to note here is obviously this is entry level, so you're going to get a good price on this door compared to some of the other models we're going to go into. Keep in mind, the reason that price can be where it is one, because the overall product is kind of cheap, but they're also counting on, and referring to other garage door companies here, they're counting on long-term maintenance with this door. So if you don't make as much money in the install with this, you're going to make a little bit more money over the lifespan of this door by having to maintain it frequently to keep it running smoothly and safely. And so back to that heat, the next level we're going to talk about is this same thing, but with an insert to help cut that heat. And we'll show you that here in a second. Here is an example of our level 2 door. So this is again a single-sided steel. This example is a stamped shaker panel in a wood tone finish. What makes it level 2 is the vinyl back insulation insert that goes into this. So this is here to help cut the radiating heat that the previous model would have. Overall, it's the exact same panel construction. Again, you're just getting this added insert. So there's a few downsides to this, minus the fact that you're not getting any structural integrity added to this. This panel is loose inside of here, so you're gonna get a little bit of squeakiness that comes with styrofoam with a vinyl backing kind of floating around inside the panel. The other big thing to note, this will leave little itty bitty styrofoam pellets all over your garage forever and always. Something that most people would never even think to consider when talking about their garage door. Another thing is bugs kind of like to hide out in here. That is a big downside, in my opinion, to this door as well as the previous model. You're going to get a lot of spider nests inside that door because there's a bunch of hollow crevices for them to hide in. As far as heat goes, you're going to get a little bit of improvement here. Instead of it radiating so much heat like the previous hollow non-insulated door, this is going to cut that radiating property out. But other than that, it's not going to be a significantly high R value. You're more or less just going to kind of take the edge off the heat with this panel. Sound with this one You're still gonna get all of the same sounds. It's gonna be slightly deadened. The creakiness of the door is gonna be slightly deadened by that styrofoam insert. But for what you're deadening with the styrofoam, you're gonna add the squeakiness of the styrofoam. And so, again, just to reiterate, this door is just as flimsy as the last one. The only difference here is the styrofoam insert. Here is a beautiful example of a level 3 door. This is when we consider a garage door to be a real garage door. So this is called a double steel insulated panel, also referred to as a sandwich door. So you got front side steel, insulation in the middle, and backside steel. That's gonna add a significant amount of strength. This is not gonna bend or bow the same way the previous models did. When you push on this, you're gonna get a lot more resistance to external pressures and forces. This door is going to last significantly longer because of those things. Also, big thing to consider here is security. You can't break into this door the same way you can the previous models. You've got 2 levels of steel here to go through, as well as that insulated section in the middle that is also adhered to the front and back of this panel. Your end caps on this door, which is this part here, is also adhered to the panel itself. So that's going to add some more strength to the overall rigidity of this, keeping you a lot safer, a lot more secure. As far as heat goes, this is where you start to really get insulation value. This is going to make your garage door comfortable. Here in Florida, it's a big concern. Again, back to that, you drive through a neighborhood with the first level of door in their homes, everybody's got their door cracked open to try to vent some of that heat out. This is going to keep it out. This is going to make your garage door actually comfortable, a comfortable space to live in, use, that sort of thing. As far as sound goes, this is also going to help block some of the exterior sounds. So that pesky neighbor that always has his music on late at night, this is going to help keep some of that out. If you've got a home gym, and you want to keep some of the noise in, that's also going to help with that. The actual door itself is going to be significantly quieter as well. Big step up in user experience with the door. Less creaks, less moans, less rattles. All of that stuff is going to be softened and deadened by the fact that this is two-sided with that insulation. As far as cost of this door, you're going to get a lot of savings over the lifespan of this door and maintenance costs and repair costs. Like I said, this door is actually going to last a lot longer than the previous 2 models, and you're going to have a lot less repair costs over its lifespan. Also, when you buy one of these models from King Oaks Garage Door Service, you're going to get our Forever Lift system with this. So you're going to get a lifetime guarantee on all the hardware of this door, saving you a lot of costs and repairs over its lifespan. So here's a great example of a level 4. This garage door is something you buy if you're really concerned about insulation value, longevity, security. This is going to give you the best of everything. So you can get any color option in this. This particular panel is called the plank door. This is, I believe, an Accents walnut. Yep, Accents walnut. So you get these horizontal ridges here. Again, you can get this in any stamp. You can get this in any color that you like. The big thing here, this is also a double-sided steel. This is going to upgrade you to polyurethane insulation. So that's going to add a lot of rigidity. The way that polyurethane insulation works, which is kind of the basis, the foundation of this panel construction, once this panel is built, before they put the end caps on this, they inject foam inside of this that expands. It fills every crack, every crevice of the actual panel itself, and that expanding action makes it adhere to that, again, in every crack and crevice, and it puts internal to external pressure, which makes this incredibly rigid. So this door is very strong. We've actually seen people bump these very lightly with their car and not need to replace sections, the door, anything, not even really have anything more than a hiccup, damage their car more than the door. Not that you can run into this, but it's going to be very resistant to damage. So you push on this here, there's no flex. This thing is very strong. There's absolutely no way you're going to bend or bow this panel. Like I said, this is incredibly strong, especially compared to the rest of the models. As far as heat goes, this is going to be as close as you can get to a wall. It's very high R value. If you have an older home, this actually might have a higher R value than most of your external walls. If you have a modern home with closed cell foam insulation, that's the same type of insulation that this has. So very, very high R value. This is going to ensure that your garage door is very comfortable. If you have AC in your garage, this is what we're going to recommend. And on top of the polyurethane insulation, this also has a vinyl cap on the top of each section, and then it has a rubber gasket on the bottom of each section, so that when each section and when the door is closed and each section comes down and connects, you get a very good seal right where the panels connect, adding to that R value, also adding to keeping the elements out. So really heavy rains with high winds are not going to creep through the door. You can pressure wash this door and you're not going to get water inside the garage. As far as sound, this is actually going to have, I don't want to say soundproofing, but it's going to keep most of the sound out. Back to that closed cell foam, it's going to be very noise reducing, both internally, externally, as well as you're not going to get any creaks or moans out of this type of panel. This is going to be a great user experience overall. Pretty much no noise out of this. This thing will not create any rattles or squeaks. As far as cost over the lifespan of this door, very little maintenance is going to be needed on this. Basic lubrication on this door is going to keep it running for a long time. Again, with King Oaks garage doors, you're going to get upgraded to the Forever Lift system when you do this, so that hardware is going to be warranted for life. This is the type of door you buy if you are boating your forever home and you want to stay there and you don't want to have breakdowns and you don't ever want to have to replace things like your garage door. This is going to stand the test of time. So this is definitely a long-term investment, as well as just a great experience that you're going to have through that long-term investment. So here we're going to talk about painted wood tones versus accents wood tones. At first, you might not realize it, but this is going to have a drastic appearance change on both your home and your door. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about painted wood tones. So you're still going to get the wood grain look with a painted wood tone. This is available on those first two levels that we spoke about earlier in the video. So if you notice, the wood grain on this, and we'll put a close up here, just goes across the entire panel. There's not really a rhyme or reason. Again, still going to give you the wood tone look if you need that to match the rest of your home. But the detail on this painted wood tone finish is definitely not the same as the detail over here on this accents wood tone. So if you notice here, this is a carriage house panel, and the wood grain will actually match the actual stamp of the door. On a full scale door, these vertical lines on the edge over here are going to match up with the panel following. On this one, you're not going to get wood grain matching across the door. This is going to be the same wood grain finish on every section. They're going to be kind of identical, and on a full-size door, you're going to notice that in person. It's going to be very obvious that it is just a basic wood grain. On this door from a distance, it's actually going to look like it was constructed out of wood, and it's going to have a drastic visual difference. And again, we'll put a close-up over here and maybe even show some examples on the screen of a full-size door. Here's a bonus door, just for your information. This is a full view door by CHI. This is gonna give you that wow factor if you really are looking for something that's gonna be striking or a statement piece. This is a raw aluminum finish, so we can get this powder coated in any color, from any of the standard colors that they offer to a fully custom color match color. You can get the frame of this powder coated. You also have many options when it comes to glass. We usually recommend that you go double pane glass on these. This is a single pane glass example here. You can also do frosted, tinted, obscured, all types of different glass in this door. These are very strong. They resist corrosion significantly. Again, aluminum construction rather than a steel construction, so these can't rust or corrode. The powder coating is also warranted for life directly from CHI. As far as R value goes, this is not going to be the best solution for heat. They do lack a little bit in that area. So if that's your primary concern, this isn't going to be our first recommendation for you. However, the double pane glass is going to make a pretty big difference from one to the other. As far as sound of this door, they're pretty quiet in operation. When you get that double pane glass with the aluminum frame and you put the insulation inside of it, you will get a pretty good reduction in external sound, especially compared to the first level of garage door. However, sound and thermal value is typically not what a customer is looking for with this panel. This is more about wow factor, looks. It's going to give you that industrial modern look in your home. As far as maintenance of this, back to the fact that it's aluminum. You're not going to have a lot of maintenance. The only thing really to consider is replacing glass. If the whole door is glass, the likelihood of a rock hitting it and breaking one of these panes, it does happen. It is something that can be fixed. So if you do have one break, you don't have to replace the whole section or the whole door or anything like that. We can actually change out the individual panes of glass, no matter which type of option of glass you have as well. This is another door that when you order from King Oaks, you're going to be upgraded automatically to the Forever Lift system. So the warranty on this door will be warranted for life. So we hope you found this video helpful. If you need some more information, you can call us at 407-908-2315, or you can book an appointment with us online at king-oaks.com. Now that you know a little bit more about garage doors, go to king-oaks.com, scroll on the left-hand menu bar, click on Our Products, where you will find our online catalogs of garage doors, and select the door that fits your needs today. King Oaks Garage Door Services, because your garage door should last forever.